Hello everyone, and today we are going to be talking about the turtle module. So this is an introduction to 2D game design using a GUI. Okay, so first let's explain what a GUI is. A GUI stands for Graphical User Interface, and it is basically any screen that pops up. Discord, Minecraft, any game that you can think of that you have to download and open up. Zoom, if I haven't said that already. Like all these applications, the interface in which you can interact with different buttons, different parts of the screen, that's basically called a GUI. That's the 2D screen that you're able to see. Right now, we've only been using the console, but in the future, using Turtle, we'll be able to create some cool games or even revamp existing console games into GUI-based games. But first, before we do that, we need to talk about two important things. That's the coordinate system and rotation with degrees. If you think you already know this, you can skip this part of the video, and I'll leave a timestamp to where we actually start coding. But if you're not sure what these concepts are, or if you just want to review, stick around. Okay, so let's talk about the introduction to the coordinate system. We have a box. Okay, so this GUI right here, I'm going to outline it with my pointer, is a box, right? And in the direct center of the GUI, no matter how big it is, right, that is going to be called the origin or the center point. Okay. Now, there are two ways to represent your place on the coordinate plane. If you want to represent how high or low you are, you use the y value. If you want to represent how far to the right or how far to the left you are, you use the x value. Okay. You might be seeing that we're using negative numbers as well. Let me explain that. So as you can see, at the center, x is 0 and y is 0. If we move x towards the right, we get a positive x increase. So as we move to the right, x increases. As we move to the left of the origin, x decreases, and if x is less than 0, then it's going to be negative. And the same thing applies to y. The more up you go, the more the y value increases, and the more down you go, the more the y value decreases. Let's do a quiz, okay? All I want you to tell me, you don't have to estimate the exact place where the coordinate is at, but you have to tell me if the x coordinate is positive or negative, and if the y coordinate is positive or negative for each point, okay? So let's look at this point. I'll give you 3 seconds to guess. As you can see, since this is above the origin, that means we have a positive y, and since this is to the right of the x-axis, we call it, this also has a positive x. What about this one? Since this is to the left of the x-axis, we know that, or sorry, the y-axis, this thing right here, we know that the x value is negative, right? Because it's towards the left of the origin. But since it's still above the the x-axis, this is why it's a bit confusing. You can think of it, since it's above the origin, we know that the y value is positive. So now since this is below the x-axis and below the y-axis, right, in this quadrant, you can call it, we have both negative numbers. And as you can see, this is to the right of the x-axis, so it's positive. But since this is below the y-axis, the y is negative. Okay, so you might want to practice this. There are lots of practices online if you don't get it, but you just have to have a general intuition for in which quadrant we call it, right? First quadrant, second, third, fourth is the point in. Where do we want to move the turtle? The second important concept is rotation and degrees. Yes, I know this is more of a math class, but you need to know this for GUI stuff, right? So basically, imagine this being a circle, and a circle having 360 degrees, because it's 300, 330, 360, and it's also 0. We're in the same place, right? So for example, if you say we turn backwards, right? You know how people say we do a 180, we turn backwards. A 180 is called a 180 because when we turn to the complete opposite side, it's 180 degrees. If you just turn towards the right, it's 90 degrees. But what about if you want to turn slightly to the right, like not fully to the right, but like midway? Then we would move right here, right where my cursor is, And that would be around 45 degrees because 90 divided by 2 is 45. Okay, this stuff is important when you're using turtle, especially when you're drawing complex figures and shapes. So don't worry if you don't get it right now. Let's do some practices. First of all, the turtle starts pointing in the 90 degrees direction, right? So it's pointing where my red pointer is pointing. If we want to go to 0 degrees from 90 degrees, we have to think of two things. Do we want to turn right or left? And how many degrees to the right or left should we turn? There are two answers to this actually. We can either turn to the left, right? This is left because we're turning to the left like this. Try to imagine it. We can turn 90 degrees in the left direction, or, and this is not present right now, but we can turn 270 degrees like this in the right direction. But that's kind of dumb. Just turn 90 degrees in the left direction, right? And if you want to turn from 90 degrees to 180 degrees, we turn 90 degrees in the right direction, right? So we can do it either way. And these are basically some of the functions of turtle. Okay, so now we are going to start looking at the code. So first of all, you need to, from turtle import star, which is basically importing everything that turtle has. And you don't have to do any installation using pip or anything like that. If you don't know what that is, don't worry. And then down below here, let me explain what this is. This basically makes sure that our game keeps on running even if we finish all of our code. Because what happens is that since there's no code, the GUI will basically just close after we're done with our program. But what about if we just want to see our end result after the code is done and we want to keep it until we press the X button? Main loop makes sure that that doesn't happen. Okay, now let's go over how to create a turtle. So we can name our turtle by doing t equals turtle like this. Okay, we can also, let's say we want our turtle to write the score, we can do score equals turtle. We could make a player equals turtle. I spelled that wrong, right? Okay, we can make a turtle for whatever player sprite that we want to make a turtle for. But right now I'm just gonna have one turtle because it's a very simple project. Okay, as you can see, you also want to make sure you keep on saving, so I'm gonna do Control S just in case something happens. Okay, now let's make our turtle go forward. To make our turtle go forward, we can do .forward or .fd. So .fd, and then we have one parameter, and that's of course the distance that we want it to move forward. So let's make it move 50. Okay, and let's just open this. So I'm just gonna click run code like that. You can also click run and then run without debugging. Both ways work. Okay, so I'm gonna open it. As you can see, the turtle has moved forward from its starting position in the origin and has moved, let's see how much, 50 in the X direction, right? We could make this also move backwards, but I'll show you that in a bit. Now let's make our turtle turn to the right by doing .rt or right. Either way works. I just like using the short forms. Let's make it move 90 degrees right. So now it's going to point downwards. If you run this, as you can see, it's now ready to move in the downwards position. Now let's make our turtle pen up. Okay, what does this mean? This basically means that now when the turtle is moving, it's not going to draw anything on the screen. This is helpful for when you want to reposition your turtle without the turtle drawing anything, right? So if you want to make like a circle and then a circle somewhere else on the screen, if the turtle can't teleport, right? It'll move over there. But while it's moving, if you don't have the pen up, it'll still keep on drawing. So now that the pen is up, we can make the turtle move backwards a bit. So remember, it's moving backwards it's pointing down, so it's going to move up now. And let's make it move like 150 backwards. And we can save this and run it. As you can see, we drew that, we turned, and we moved up a lot. And the turtle didn't draw anything this time. Okay. Now let's turn our turtle to the left. Okay. Let's turn the turtle back to its original position of 90 degrees. So now we're going to do that, and as you can see, t when we're turning left 90 degrees, it cancels out the turning right 90 degrees, so we're back at 90 degrees. That's a lot of 90 degrees. Now if you run this again, you can see it's turned to its original position. And now let's make it so that our turtle can draw finally, right? So pen down basically means, okay, now that our pen is down, whenever the turtle moves, it'll start drawing. And then we can move the turtle to an X and Y position on a grid using .goto. So this is helpful. You usually want to actually keep the pen up when you're moving, if you recall. Basically, I'm just going to teleport. It's like teleporting, right? You still draw, okay? Here's the thing. If your pen is down, you can still draw while teleporting, right? I call this teleporting. You're basically just moving to a position on the coordinate plane. So let's run this. And as you can see, oh, wait. I think I might have been, oh, that's funny. Okay, wait. Let me go like negative 100. Because I might have been on that exact same position. Let me run it. Can you guys guess what's wrong? Yes, I know. If you guys realized it, I did not save, okay? So you need to make sure you save, because a lot of students are telling me it's not working, and then they forget to save. So now if you save, as you can see, we move diagonally down to negative 100, negative 100. And as you can see, using our coordinate logic, we have moved to the fourth quadrant if we're considering this to be the X and Y axis. Sorry, not the fourth, the third quadrant. Okay, and that is it. These are all the basic commands you can use. Try playing around with them, or you can move on to the second video where we teach you how to do coloring and fill and all of that. Okay, so here's a review of all the commands you've learned. So the first command, I'd say, is more just like making a turtle and naming it. You'll have multiple turtles when you're creating games, like a score turtle, a turtle for walls, a turtle for food, a turtle for your player. So you'll have different turtles doing different things. That's why you need to instantiate them with a new variable name and set it equal to a new turtle instance, right? So like remember classes, we create like a new cookie class or a new triangle class. This is the same thing. We're creating a new turtle class or instance of the class. Okay, this one's very easy, forward and backward. We move forward or backwards a certain distance or a certain amount, right? Depending on where we're pointing. If we're pointing 45 degrees, right, which is like going in the diagonal direction, we move forward 10 steps in the diagonal direction, okay? And then RT and LT stands for right turn and left turn, respectively. And as you remember, we learned about degrees. We turn right or left a certain amount of degrees, right? Usually people do it like 90, 180, 270, multiples of 90, because those are like the sharp rights or the sharp 180s of a circle. Next, this can be confusing, but think of it like this. Our turtle is in a state. We can either make the pen up, meaning that whenever the turtle moves, it does not draw, or we can put the pen down, meaning that now whenever the turtle moves, it draws. And one of the most helpful commands, goto, basically allows the turtle to move to any position you want. Now you have to make sure that your pen is actually up, because then it'll also draw unless you want it to draw. So you can move the turtle, you can draw like a circle, move the turtle to a random position and draw another circle. And that might be one of your warm-ups. Finally, all of your turtle programs need this main loop so that whenever you open your window, it does not close again, right? So because if you don't have this, your program will run, it'll stop running, your window will close, unless the main loop is still constantly running until you press the X tab out of the GUI. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.